Thank you so much for coming here to our workshop. So I'm going to be the moderator for today. So the topic today will be a depth of why technology is not the most important thing in IR 4.0. But first of all, I would like to welcome our panelists. First of all, I would like to welcome Nasir Baki, Managing Director of IPSB. We can have a seat here. And give a round of applause. Thank you. And secondly, we have Kunihiko Amako, Asian Client Technical Leader from IBM. So give a round of applause. And thirdly, we have Sasongko Yudho, Chief Executive Officer from Ebdesk. And we have here Mr. Luqman Nur, Vice President from Grenapps. Welcome everyone. So how's your day? I mean, yesterday and today. Is everybody attended yesterday as well? Yes, and today will be the workshop session. So we're gonna do a free and easy session. So hopefully, if you guys have any question, just raise up your hand and you can ask all our panelists. They are all not gonna bite you. Don't worry. They are very friendly people. You see, they are very friendly people.
We are afraid too.
Yeah. So we have one mic, so the panelists need to share the mic. But first of all, I think IR 4.0 is not something new. Everybody is talking about it. Everybody wants to involve in IR 4.0. But today, with our panelists, we're going to go deeper in terms of what are the areas that we need to invest on, our energy, our time, and of course money, beside the technology. So in the past 10 years, Malaysia manufacturing has contributed 23%. Everybody knows about this. And in terms of our country GDP. And for the high income sneakers, for the next Malaysia Rancangan ke-12, Nation Plan, 12 Nation Plan, we're looking at manufacturing as one of the biggest sector that we contributed to the GDP. So our objective is clear. We would like to ensure that industry capability to transform the economy and have a low-cost manufacturing country and become a high-value competing manufacturer. So that's where IR 4.0 comes to picture. So first of all, I would like to ask Nasir Baki on what are the areas of technology or what do manufacturers have to do in terms of embarking in IR 4.0?
So, coming from the technology perspective, I believe we have seen the advent of cloud solutions, cloud computing, that is being widely talked about, and that has been also implemented in many sectors in Malaysia or even in the worldwide basis. But what is more important that I can see for manufacturing industry to benefit on is in terms of the openness of technology nowadays. So if you look at the so-called proprietary solution, things are more integrated, things are more bundled in, things are more encapsulated, they call it, sometimes they call it black box, or sometimes they call it an integrated solution. So if we want to be more competitive, we have to look at industries or technology in the layers of the technology that is available, that is well defined by, say, things like OSI. So we feel that if you understand better in terms of the available technologies and how it is being opened, you could actually make your infrastructure or the technology implementation much more agile and cost effective. So we believe that the cloud computing is probably the way for you to expedite the implementation of technology, because you don't need to think about setting a data center or things like that. But at the same time, understanding the technology itself is key to success. And now we talk about like edge to core strategies, things like that. So the ability for you to process locally on premise, say to crunch your machine learning data and to make sure that your IoTs being able to process locally, or what we call it on-prem, would then be able to expedite, or rather to increase the processing capability. So, of course, the technology is very dynamic and agile. You know, people who promoting cloud who say that everything has to go to cloud. You know, there are vendors who say that cloud is not secure, you should go with on-prem, things like that. But for the customers or those who interested in technologies, there's such thing called hybrid technology. So you should be looking at both angles in terms of how you can implement things locally on-prem and things that you can have it on the cloud itself. So that's my general view.
So basically, number one is you have to have an open standard capabilities of technology. You look into understanding the technology that you want to implement. And the third one, you need to do a hybrid. That's the one takeaway.
Yeah. I mean, like, there is no hard and fast rule to the whole thing, you know. Maybe you would want to implement cloud first, when you want to, you know, test the ideas. When it's small, it is much cheaper to go for cloud when it's small.
For pilot project or
So at the end of the day, like if you want to evolve, you know, there are many ways to disrupt the industry. You know, like how flash storage has disrupted the storage. So for us to adapt, you know, it's not for us how to be the one that has like deep pocket, a lot of money, or company that is high in intelligence or patent. Is the company that is willing to adapt to the technology and be able to disrupt the market out there. So that is what we believe that how Malaysian manufacturing could actually be more competitive out there. Because at the end of the day, probably you know, we cannot be always leading in terms of labor. Labor, those things can be cheap, but nowadays maybe Vietnam is cheaper than us. So we have to adapt to the technology. That's what I think.
Okay, so anyone to add to that?
So from my viewpoint, if from the infrastructure perspective, it will be or it's up to user. It's up to the use cases. So if you try to use the AI for some part, then you don't need to send everything to the cloud. But it's easy to use from some part in cloud. For example, IBM has Watson, but we can use that function in cloud easily in pay-per-use. We don't need to create it. So that easy start point. But for example, if you use the AI for factory settings, for example, we have the visual inspection, which can take an image and find out the defect of the parts using AI. But when you do that, all the photo images stored into the storage. So if you send every data to the cloud, it will take lots of network speed and network bandwidth and also the storage size. So in that case, maybe you should store the data into on-premise and analyze on-premise, and then after you use that data, then you can move that data to another place like a tape or more cheaper place. So in that case, maybe on-premise is better. So it's up to the use case.
Yeah. So it's up to the use case which data, whether the data sensitivity that you need to do on-premise and things like that. So at the end of the day, it's about understanding the data and the workload that we want to do. We have a video from IBM to showcase about. Maybe you can explain what the video is all about first. Yeah.
In just 24 hours, Hurricane Patricia went from a minor tropical storm to a Category 5 monster. Because it picked up steam so quickly, much of Mexico's coastline was left unprepared. But 150 miles inland, IBM's Guadalajara Production Center was ready, thanks to IBM's Cognitive Supply Chain Risk Management System. Powered by IBM Watson and living in the cloud, the system uses cognitive technology that can more accurately anticipate and track extreme weather events, helping to separate the crucial signals from the noise. Here's how it works. In addition to trawling weather forecasts for information, it sorts through vast amounts of real-time data from the weather company's APIs and IBM's Insights for Weather API to get a better picture of a storm's trajectory. Simultaneously, the system uses Alchemy API to extract concepts from unstructured data on social media and analyze relevant news feeds from trusted sources to predict location-specific impact. That's not all. It can also compare a storm against historical data, using past events to make smarter predictions through cognition. Future enhancements to capabilities could be used to help foresee epidemics, social disruption, and other unexpected events. Though the system is still in the development phase, it's poised to be a game changer for supply chain managers and analysts, whose largely manual monitoring can be expensive, time-consuming, and imprecise. Using capabilities like the IBM Cognitive Supply Chain Risk Management System as their go-to hub, they could be empowered with greater supply chain visibility to make more informed decisions in high-pressure situations. They could be proactive in rerouting operations and minimizing interruption. It could help them avoid costly false alarms and even more costly direct hits. At 2 p.m., IBM's Guadalajara Center was evacuated just prior to Patricia's landfall. As expected, the storm struck north of the city, causing minimal damage to production operations at a critical time. When the next big threat is closing in, will your business know how best to react?
Yeah, so it's amazing. Actually, it says it's under construction, but this video was created on 2016. Now we've completed.
In just 24 hours, Hurricane Patricia went.
Yeah, so technology is here already, and it says like Alchemy API, Resonance API, those are already open to use. And we have Watson, and so any tools in the world now, so you can get it. So next question will be, what you need to do. You don't need to build this big supply chain, but in an Industry 4.0, it's not only the factory itself. The factory is connected to, from the sales to procurement, the parts, raw material, and manufacturing, and then logistics. So every data must be connected and create the best result. So technology, this video shows the technology is already here, and now you need to think about what is issue in your company and what you need to do for the next.
So the next question I have for you is people talk about smart factory.
Yeah.
Like people talk like there's a that big thing for manufacturing to smart manufacturing together with AI. Is that being highly adopted? Like how many manufacturers that really know human intervention? We spoke about it recently that actually it's very hard. Technology is not really matured yet. But what really IBM be able to help the manufacturer in terms of moving them to smart manufacturing and adopting AI into their process?
Okay. For the fully automated factory, we can make it actually. And there are several companies trying to use that one. But from my experience and work with customers, it's not cost effective. Because if you want to make everything automated, then you need to adjust every time. And adjust must be done by human being. Right. So the technology is there, but it's not the way to do. So what smart factory from IBM perspective is find out the issue and solve the issues basically. For example, like there may be some human intent work and inspection. So if you do an inspection then by eyes, and everybody, workers needs to inspect every time, but since we are human beings and we become tired, so you cannot keep working, maybe only 1 hour travel and get rest. But if you use the machine can work 24 hours, 7 days. So that kind of tough work can be replaced by AI or robot.
So, is it correct if I would say that it's a combination of technology with something like monitoring that CCTV, for example, together with human quality control, would then bring this IR or smart manufacturing for current manufacturing?
So, especially human being becomes not just find out what is happening, but need to be decision maker. So this is happening. We get the information from the machine or AI. So then,
but the final decision is
so he needs to decide how production stop or just change. Or that kind of decision must be done by human being.
Interesting. Okay. I would like to move on to what Sasongko. So, in today's age of disruption and manufacturing need to adopt business strategy very quickly, because if they change, if there's a change in the industry, if they did not change, they will be left behind. So, to respond quickly, the customer needs and the market change in a cost-effective manner. What tools does the manufacturer need in order to make a quick decision to shift?
Okay. In this session, perhaps I would like to answer your question is, my answer will be based on our experience. My company, Ebdesk. So Ebdesk, actually we established since in the mid of 90s towards the .com era. So we started as an information management, we focus on the information management on the client side. So all your internal data and everything managed. We deliver as a knowledge management, as document management, or as API. But in the mid of 2000, in the 2005, 2006, when everything already goes online, the media goes online, all the government already have all the website portals, then we move into more than just information management. But we start collecting data from those websites, or we call it open source. So we try to be like, deliver something like open source intelligence. So we do like what Google do, crawling all the data. And then when the end of 2000, 2008, 2009, 2010, when the social media and the media become booming, then we start going our crawling to those sites. So, is there any requirement to that? Actually, when we started those activities, we started in Indonesia. Indonesia in 2000 is the time where Indonesia tried to recover from the financial crisis. So there are a lot of dynamics. Indonesia, the government tried to do this policy, but doesn't work because the market is not like that. So we tried a lot of flip-flop, like euphoria, the people, the industry demand something that perhaps is not applicable. So how's the government? So actually there's a demand of that. So that's where the government of Indonesia engaged us. How if we look at what happening outside there? So that's why we try to use our AI At the time they don't call it big data, but actually we already start the big data activity in the mid-2000s. We start crawling all the data from the public, from the open source. Then we try to come up with some analytics for the clients. So perhaps if you can play the first video.
Has the opportunity to explore what 5G is about, might Sabu popularity spike even further. Looking at the top issues of Magic's trial. Next, we will look into the tweeting. Prime Minister of Entrepreneurial Development of Education as long as the
So starting from those activities, we start crawling the data, everything. We start put context on top of the data. In the beginning, we have bunch billion of data, but we don't know what to do. That's why we start learning. We start engaging with the media, with the journalists, with the political analysts. Okay, I have this data. What we can put context on top of this? Then this is very important because from there we can create a story, narrative. What's happening? For example, like Malaysia, especially in the manufacturing, we are follow like foreign workers, moratorium or not moratorium, where we can bring in the foreign workers. Foreign workers is one of the component, the important component to for the manufacturing to run the business. Or perhaps when the palm oil price boycott everywhere, I mean you cannot sell the palm oil. Or recently the rubber, even some of the rubber's product in US being banned. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen? How's our planning? Because we cannot just, let's say, I want to plan this capacity, and then suddenly in US, the issue of boycotting is getting higher. So should we adjust the capacity or not? Or we just produce? We think later. Cannot, right? Because we are based on the cash flow. If we produce and then we cannot sell, yes, there will be expiry time. We cannot sell anymore. So data is important. We need to know what's happening there. That's why one of our data when we make this is Malaysia Indicator is one of our channel to showcase our. So you can go to malaysiaindicator.com. So those we try to become like a data-driven journalism. Yeah, a lot of clients engage us to give the insight in terms of perception, market intelligence. Because nowadays, after the changes of the government, a lot of very dynamic, I call it very dynamic, with all euphoria, with the global situation, with the trade war between China and US, and the internal domestic issues and everything, right? There are a lot of dynamics. So manufacturing cannot be just, I'm not the politics, I don't want to know the politics. No, politics is important for you, right? To decide, you need to know how much the budget going to spend. Are they going to implement the tax, the digital tax, for example? So if digital tax is going to be implemented, the first will be effective is all the e-commerce. So, how we have to plan? So, first, before this happening, we need the data. That's why I want to answer. The first thing is not the technology, it's the data. That's why our company from the information management, now we are transformed into, we position ourselves as a data company. Instead of IT or instead of the information management, we are data company. You need data, come to us. We have all the data. So, that's from the time to time. That's why until the big data in 2012 become the trademark. That's why, this is people calling big data. Okay, then. So from our experience, from those data, from open source, we start to look at other data. So perhaps that you can play another video.
Artificial intelligence has effectively helped us meet the needs of today. With smart farming, efficiency becomes a luxury everyone can afford. Your plants can grow almost anywhere, such as rooftops of high-rise buildings, saving space in the process. At Ebdesk, we've innovated how agriculture and artificial intelligence can work together to gather data and help plants grow. It will gain better insight into the plant's condition, growing better and healthier crops, yielding more food and producing less waste. The advanced AI behind the system will learn to analyze, adapt, and respond to the plant's needs in real time, ensuring maximal growth. The sensors installed in the system gathers data 24/7, intelligently monitoring every parametric change ranging from nutrition and light to pH level and temperature. Positioning technology rotates the plants to capture maximal sunlight for photosynthesis. Any changes beyond the plant's favorable condition will trigger the AI to respond automatically, correcting all aspects to meet its requirements. Sensory receivers can diagnose the plant's nutritional needs. With AI, the system operates autonomously, where plants are automatically watered not when you want it, but when it needs it. With smart farming, optimized growth is now a possibility instead of a dream. Smart farming, the future of agriculture.
So this is a real experience. So after the first cycle of AI and big data in the market intelligence, social intelligence, perception intelligence, then after the system, after production becomes stable, then we have a bunch of data scientists idle. Okay, they are idle because the system for the social media monitoring, everything already stable. So what to do next? So few years ago, actually in our center, just now if you see the high-rise building is one of our command center. When we just set up the command center, actually on the rooftop is very hot. In Jakarta, it's very hot. This in Jakarta, in the city in Jakarta. So our management, okay, let's try we plant something to make it more greeny and not that hot. But it takes slower, very slow, to buy the plants and then set up very slow, and then the raining, we have to wait on the raining season and so on. Then some of the idea from our chief data scientist, why don't we try the machinery? Okay, people, when there is no soil, people on the smart farming, on the farming, they use the hydroponics, just the water, right? But how to make the plants grow faster? That's the thing that you see. This is a real, like just now first, we put vertical instead of horizontal, we put vertical, and then the tube is the one that following the sunlight. So that in the plantation, right, we can force the plant to photosynthesis all the time. Even not only daytime, nighttime we put the UV light, so that the growth can double it. And it tastes, because after that we try to cook, and it is nicer. Even under the level, some of our data scientists actually we can plan how much calcium we want to put for every plant. We can plan. I mean, we can experience. I mean, sometimes we want to supply for the restaurant some calcium looks nicer, then we can plan actually. So from there, and then we put the whole, and then we have also a fish pond. We flood the pond with the fish, so then all the feces from the fish become the nutrient to the plant. So we use the AI, we use the machine learning to learn the color of the leaf. If the color of the leaf start green, then it will trigger the sensor from the pond, and then it will trigger the water trigger the pump to pump the water to the hydroponics. So it grew all the time. This is already the 5th cycle of harvesting, and it's nice. Our plan is, yeah, we see a lot of the high-rise building, or it's all just nothing over there. Imagine if we can make all those rooftop green, then we can call it the building is green. So AI for us is not just because of, that's why if we're talking about artificial intelligence, it's been around in the academic for so many years, in the 80s, in the 70s, but we never see the realization. Why? Because we don't have the statistics. They already talk, the academic, the professors, they only talk in the academic, in the theoretical. When they publish the paper, the conclusion is recommendation for the next research. Try to read all the AI paper in the 80s, 90s. The conclusion is the recommendation for the next research. It's not the real product. So for us, we are not the academic. Actually, we have the requirement. And then we try how the AI to solve that requirement. So you have to start from there. You must come up with your problem statement. When manufacturers, I mentioned just now, it's not the entire supply chain. Perhaps you start with what is your problem statement first. If your problem statement is about how to sell, then you implement the AI to look on the market intelligence. If your problem statement is on the supply, then you need to have the intelligence on the supply. Let's say you produce some crops, everything, how's the crops, about the production, the export, import pattern, and so on. If your problem statement is in the workers, then you look at the politics. how's the government going to, Indonesian government as well as the Malaysian government. For example, let's say like today, a lot of my friends say that it's difficult to bring in Indonesian workers to Malaysia. Yes, why? Because in Indonesia there are a lot of factories developed outside Jakarta. Especially when the government of Indonesia want to move the Jakarta into Kalimantan. There will be a lot of projects over there. Then definitely the supply of foreign workers come here will be less. So you need to find another way. You cannot rely on the Indonesian for foreign workers. If you look at the others, Vietnam and so on and so on. So it depends on your problem statements. After problem statements, not the technology, you look at the data. Is the data available to us? Available and enough. The context. Then technology is just the enabler. It's the last mile. And that's all based on our experience, real experience.
I think that's a good one, because a lot of people, they have a lot of data. Sometimes they have too much data, but they don't know what to do with it. They're like, okay, the data is there. I know my production is at 20%, currently dropping at 10%. But what it means, what's
so what? Management will say, okay, so what? Because like this, if you just look at your data and then you just try to implement business intelligence, you put some statistic without the insight here, without the context, I'm sure, guarantee your management will say, so what?
It's just a dashboard.
Management, it's just a dashboard, so what? Management need about the how much we can make our company more efficient, how much cost we can save. That's the concern of any industry, how much cost we can save, right? I don't need the beautiful dashboard, but I need the insight. Tell me what is the context of the data and data. That's why I always mention big data. Without data, it's not big data. A lot of big data projects fail because they don't have enough data. Or artificial intelligence. Without intelligence, it's not artificial intelligence. If you're doing artificial intelligence, it's not about how many data scientists you're going to recruit, but what kind of intelligence you're going to produce. It's not about the number of data scientists, but how much intelligence you're going to produce, you plan based on your problem statements. Data scientists, whether it is on cloud, on premise, whether this one is Watson or open source, it's just the last mile. The first thing is your problem statements, followed by your data, and then you start try to develop, establish the context, and then what is the expectation from the management.
That's really interesting. So I think a lot of problem or a lot of projects not really successful with AI or big data is because they don't really understand the problem statement.
Yes, correct.
Problem statement
in the end, it's just because I have clients, Malaysian clients, a lot of the implementing data, they complain. We already have 10 servers, 20 servers, we install hardware, we install so many things. But why is not what the market promised? Because you start from the technology. No, you have to start from the problem statement. Arrange a workshop, do some POC. Look at your data. Your data not enough, it's okay. Look at data outside there. A lot of data outside there. Most of our data, that's why our positioning on the data intelligence is open source data intelligence. Why our client engages, because we are strong in the how we collect data from the public. It's not from the internet. Internet is given. As long as it's just a matter of can you give the data or not. But when it comes to from the outside, the IMF, the MIDA, BD, export, import, the production, so many things, palm oil, CPO, everything, right? It's important. You have to collect all. So then you can come up with this. But don't worry, technology nowadays is very easy. But even though you buy the most expensive analytical tools, for example like the SAS, it's expensive normally license, but you don't have. But you don't have SAS, the banking they use it because why are you buying this SAS software, system analyticals? Because the banking use it, because maybank using it. Okay, you buy, but eventually you don't have the data. So you're just watching the cost of the license, which is cost you expensive. So first we start with the data first. Before the data, start with your problem statements. I think it's all.
So let's move to Grenapps from Luqman. So can you briefly talk about what Grenapps do and what you have to offer to the manufacturing in terms of IR 4.0, and what do you think about the future is going to be look like for the manufacturing?
Okay, hi, my name is Luqman Nur from Grenapps. So Grenapps is actually a software developer house. We build software, we help our client to customize their so-called standard software into something that is more tailored to them. So, like the rest of my members of panelists here, they provide infrastructure, some provide technology, some provide data scientists. We build whatever that requirements into what you need. Okay, so moving forward from here, as you all can already see, everything is online now. Everything is fast and everything is like, how would I say, massive. You know, when you first being introduced to Facebook, what were you thinking? I don't know about you guys, but when I first introduced to Facebook, and I was like, what? Another Yahoo group that is going to spend my meals and lots of chance when I first being introduced to that. But then, look how it affects our daily life today. How it affects a political situation in a country. So, moving forward, it is safe to say that everything is just going to be online. Everything is just going to be so fast, and you are being flooded with information. Okay? That is moving forward. Now, in terms of industry, there will be a lot of automation that is going to happen because we are being introduced with more and more sensors. I mean, the hype word today, they call it IoTs. You know, if you're still confused what is IoTs in IR4, IoTs is basically a bunch of sensors that's just gonna tell you something. Whatever you are wearing, smartwatch or, you know, those are actually IoTs because it tells how your heart beating. Some of them even tells you how much sleep you get. So this is moving forward. And Pasas just mentioned he has sensors who will tell you whether your plant is having enough sunlight, water, fertilizer, and all that. So coming back to the topic of what we're discussing today, is the technology that important? From my endpoint, it does. You know, because without technology, you're not going to be able to have those sensors. You're not going to be able to have powerful machines. You're not going to be able to put together all of this information online and quick. But then, at the end of the day, you need human to decide whether this is what you want to do. Okay? So, yeah, moving forward, I think it doesn't matter from which industry you're looking at, whether you are machineries or plantation, building buildings. At the end of the day, you are going to look into technology. You have to have things online. When you don't have all the facilities, there are so many technologies offered out there where you can actually subscribe cloud services because you don't really have to build everything yourself. Like IBM. Yeah, IBM has all these Watsons and also all these solutions for them. You could actually use to analyze your data. So yeah, moving forward, everything is going to be online. You'll be flooded with a lot of information. But at the end of the day, how do you process those data to make it relevant to your needs? And a lot of the time, Pasas has mentioned this so many times in his information delivery just now. A lot of the time, what people don't see is their problems or what they need. They always like look at the technology. Okay, this is something I want. Yeah. They don't even really know what exactly they want, and that is also the key. How would I say? Yeah, the key elements of every project implementation. Because we build software for client, 90% of the time, 90% of the time, the client who came with problem statement will have the right software for them. And usually it being implemented in the right amount of time as well. When they don't know what they want,
then they will usually
yeah, right. That will be fun. Thank you.
Maybe we pass back to Nasir. So many firms actually or manufacturers attempt to maximize their productivity and profitability while being cost effective. They're very cost conscious. Everybody today, I think this room personally or enterprise or corporate, they look at cost very seriously. So, but we still need to leverage on technology. We still need to have IoT, we need to have AI, we still need to have data intelligence, we need to do automation, robotics, and things like that. But actually, what are the ways that we can do cost effectively to achieve this? Is it by outsourcing? Is it by giving out to someone else or doing in-house? Which one are the most cost effective?
Yeah, I guess from the panelists' discussion just now, I think again, how do you define your problems, and how do you, what are the kind of yield that you want to achieve versus cost that you want to invest. I mean, the good old days of doing things more efficient, doing things more better, with generic words, are not being bought by the management anymore. So we are talking about the ROI, return on investment, right? So one of the ways to measure ROI is in terms of understanding the market, how big is the market out there. Either you want to move from this technology to another technology, right? So there's a lot of risk involved. As I said, like people are moving towards cloud. Is because they want to make sure that they have less risk in early stage of implementation. The other side of it is what kind of risk involved, things like that, to implement new projects that is not tested yet. So I believe that there is ways to actually share the risk with the partners. Maybe in terms of you want to do the famous word of outsourcing, or maybe you want to talk about managed services, things that is routine and mundane for managing certain parts of the technology can be outsourced to companies who are doing it in a much more cost-effective ways. I'll give you an example. One of our clients who into the media entertainment, they're doing a lot of broadcasting and content development. But due to the panelists talked about all this online media like Facebook, YouTube, whatever. So their revenue has been impacted massively. So they have embarked on the journey to digitalize, or rather to digitize their content. So lucky enough, they have made that bet to move from the analog to digital content. They would be able to produce more content.
Feel like where I'm coming from.